In this video lesson, we will explain how Massachusetts Bay's conflict with religious dissenters, as well as new economic opportunities, led to the expansion of New England into Rhode Island, Connecticut, and elsewhere. Eventually, sharp challenges to the colony's Puritan orthodoxy occurred, which there was punishment by assessing fines, floggings, banishment, or in the extreme, public hangings. One such challenge came from a woman named Anne Hutchinson, who was a strong-willed and intelligent woman who preached the idea that members of a particular religious group are under no moral obligation to obey the laws or ethics or morality as presented by religious authorities. Antinomianism was an extreme extension of predestination which held that leading a holy life did not assure that you were saved. Those who were truly saved and destined for heaven need not obey the laws of either God and man, because they had already been predestined for salvation. In 1638, Anne Hutchinson, accused of high heresy for saying these things, was tried for her ideas, which included her admission that she had come by her beliefs through a direct revelation from God. After her conviction, Hutchinson moved to Rhode Island and then to western New York, where she and all but 14 of her children died in an Indian raid. A primary function of the New England town governments at this time was land distribution. Once a town's founders obtained a grant from the general court, then they apportioned it to newcomers in plots ranging from 50 to 100 acres in size. Settlers who were wishing to establish a new town usually petitioned the general court for a land grant, and as demands for land grants grew, the court began to take Indian lands without paying them for it. In February 1631, Cambridge University educated Roger Williams, and his wife Mary arrived in the Bay Colony and soon became involved in some heated controversy and dissension. Roger Williams, who is pictured here, is an extreme separatist. He became a popular Salem minister who is known for publicly condemning the manner in which Native American lands had been taken from them and appropriated to white settlers. He thus threatened the entire land titles of settlers and the colony as a whole. Williams challenged the Bay Colony's charter itself as illegal for appropriating Indian lands without fairly compensating them. Unwilling to control his behavior, Williams constantly urged his fellow clergymen to break the law and to break off completely with the corrupt Church of England, and denied the authority of the civil government to regulate religious behavior. By 1635, Williams was convicted of disseminating dangerous opinions and banished from the Bay Colony in 1636. He then escaped to the Rhode Island area, where he established a new colony, which he named Rhode Island. In 1636, he establishes Rhode Island at Providence, where he built the first Baptist church and guaranteed freedom of religion to include Catholics, Jews, and Quakers. In Providence, Sunday worship was not compulsory, no taxes were required to support a state church, and simple manhood suffrage was practiced, which means in order to vote, you didn't have to own land. The latter was later narrowed to include a property qualification to vote. Planted by dissenters and exiles, Rhode Island gained a reputation for being a very individualistic, independent, and home to a lot of people who did not agree with the way that Massachusetts Bay Colony was being governed. In 1644, Britain's Parliament granted Rhode Island an official charter establishing its right to the soil. This is a picture of Roger Williams, who made agreements with Narragansett Indians and purchased the land from them to begin the colony of Rhode Island. In 1635, Connecticut was founded by a man named Thomas Hooker and Boston area Puritans at Hartford. Then, in 1639, the Hartford colony approved the Fundamental Orders, essentially a modern constitution which established a democratic government controlled by substantial citizens. In 1638, New Haven was settled by squatters without a legal charter. They fell into disfavor with King Charles II for sheltering two judges who had condemned his father, Charles I, to death. Finally, in 1622, the Crown merged New Haven with other towns to form the Connecticut colony. Farther south, the Portsmouth colony in New Hampshire was absorbed by Massachusetts Bay through a purchase from the heirs of Sir Ferdinand Horace. In 1679, the Crown separated New Hampshire from Massachusetts Bay and made it a royal colony. This is a picture of the Connecticut colony with a statue of Thomas Hooker.